This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
(6:15). This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Anjana Ramgoda and read by Soundithavam. President Wickremesinghe confident of Sri Lanka's potential to develop independently. The Prime Minister says data on poverty and vulnerability is essential for effective planning. Multimodal transport hub to be constructed to alleviate traffic congestion in the Kandy city. Sri Lanka to get US support to import quality drugs. The first Sinopec fuel station opened, discounted fuel price announced. Colombo inflation dips further to 4% in August. In foreign news, Johannesburg building fire, death toll climbs to over 70 in South Africa. And sports, the Asia Cup 2023, Bangladesh wins to toss, opt to bat first against Sri Lanka. President Ranil Wickremesinghe, addressing the Forum on Sri Lanka's Sustainable Development Trajectories and Pathways, expressed unwavering confidence in Sri Lanka's potential to develop independently and alleviate the burden on external assistance. The President underscored the importance of diversifying financial resources beyond traditional channels. President Wickremesinghe emphasized that Sri Lanka's reliance extends beyond financing solely from multilateral development banks. The engagement of the private sector along with encouraging investments has been identified as a crucial factor in generating the necessary funds to drive the country's sustainable development initiatives. In a bid to foster competitiveness and navigate economic challenges, President Wickremesinghe highlighted Sri Lanka's proactive efforts to overhaul its economy. Drawing inspiration from successful models such as Thailand, Indonesia and Vietnam, the nation seeks to attract foreign investments and capitalize on emerging markets. President Wickremesinghe's address at the Sustainable Development Forum conveyed an unwavering commitment to self-reliance, economic transformation and sustainable growth, positioning Sri Lanka on a trajectory of progress and resilience. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena called upon all policymakers as well as the private sector and civil society to use the Multidimensional Poverty Index and the Multidimensional Vulnerability Index formulated by the United Nations Development Programme to understand and implement measures to help move Sri Lanka away from vulnerability and poverty in the future. He said this when the UNDP resident representative Azusa Kubota called on him at Temple Trees today, together with the members of the UNDP experts team, Dr. Sabina Alkar, Director, Oxford Poverty and Human Development Initiative, University of Oxford, and Professor Siri Hettige, Professor in Sociology, to hand over the UNDP MBI-MPI reports. The Prime Minister thanked the Oxford Poverty and Human Development Initiative, the UNDP Surge Data Hub, and the Citra Social Innovation Lab, which is anchored within the Prime Minister's office in Sri Lanka, for the preparation of the database, which will be of extreme use to effectively design national policies for these vulnerable groups. Mrs. Kubota explained that the data for the report was collected from a national-level survey capturing insights from 25,000 households, covering the issues related to nutrition, education, household debt or risks of disasters. The Minister of Transport, Highways and Mass Media, Dr. Bandula Gunawardena, said, as a solution to the traffic congestion in the Kandy city, a multimodal transport hub will be established in front of the Goodshed bus station. He said the plan to build a multimodal transport centre has been limited to discussion for 7 years, and its construction work will be started before the end of this year under the assistance of the World Bank. The Minister revealed this plan at the opening of the Kandy City Railway Station and the Superintendent's Office complex in Kandy recently. The Kandy City Railway Station has been constructed at a cost of 5 million rupees under the direct allocation of the Railway Department. As the existing Kandy main railway station is located in one corner of the city, it is reported that the construction of the new railway station is a great relief for the passengers coming from Kandy towards Matale and from Matale to Kandy. Under the Strategic City Development Project, the supervisory manager building complex has been constructed at a cost of 80 million rupees. The office complex has been constructed to replace the old office building that is on the land earmarked for the construction of the multimodal transport hub. This division carries out construction and repairs of buildings and bridges belonging to the railway department along the lines from Matale to Navalapitiya. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The chairman of the National Medicines Regulatory Authority, Professor S.D. Jayaratna, yesterday said that Sri Lanka would take advice from the United States Food and Drug Administration in the importation and regulation of medicines in the future. He made this comment during a training program that was conducted by the FDA at the Sri Lanka Foundation Institute yesterday. About 50 officers and pharmacists of the NMRA participated in the program. The chairman expressed confidence that pharmacists will use this knowledge to reduce the production of inferior drugs in the future. Sinopec Lanka has officially commenced business operation and started fuel supply at its first franchising filling station in Mattegoda, Sri Lanka. This has taken a significant step towards enhancing Sri Lanka's energy landscape. Sinopec initiated the first round of market promotion measures with a pump discount of 3 rupees per litre for petrol and diesel. Its supply plan is in motion to progressively hand over all 150 filling stations to Sinopec's management before October. Prior to commencement, dealers extended great support during the process of signing the dealership agreements. Under the signing of the long-term contract of importation, storage, distribution and the sale of petroleum products in Sri Lanka with the Ministry of Power and Energy in May, Sinopec has been granted a 20-year license to operate 150 fuel stations and will also be able to invest in 50 new fuel stations in July. That concludes local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe has emphasized the dual importance of technology and financial literacy for the next generation as Sri Lanka moves towards becoming a developed nation by 2048. Speaking at the inauguration of the Capital Market Club program at the Nugavela Central College in Kandy today, President Wickremesinghe disclosed key plans for this transformative journey. Among the President's notable announcements was the integration of the Central Bank's report into schools for discussion. To facilitate this, the Central Bank of Sri Lanka is set to introduce a comprehensive training program for teachers and student leaders and came to you in the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Watch Live is brought to you by
CIB Janajaya Vasana. Unbelievable discounts and offers throughout August from CIB Janajaya Vasana. Come today itself.
Over 5,000 complaints related to child abuse have been filed within the first 7 months of this year, the National Child Protection Authority reported. According to the chairman of the NCPA, Senior Lecturer Udayakumara Amarasinghe, 5,456 complaints have been received during the period from January 1st to July 31st. 1,296 complaints have been filed related to child cruelty, 163 complaints related to causing severe injuries, and 242 complaints related to serious sexual abuse. The NCPA has received 110 complaints pertaining to social media and cyberspace bullying. Of these complaints, 76 are related to female children and 31 are connected to males. The NCPA further said that 196 complaints have been filed related to forcing children to beg, with the highest number of complaints being received from the Colombo district and urban suburbs. That came to you in Watchlight.
CIB Janajaya Vasana. Unbelievable discounts and offers throughout August from CIB Janajaya Vasana. Come today itself.
Moving on to a bulletin of world news making headlines. Johannesburg building fire, death toll climbs to over 70 in South Africa. Gabon coup leaders name General Brice Oligui Nguema as new leader. China issues highest warning for Typhoon Saola as it nears the coastline. Emergency Management Services spokesman Robert Muladzi said another 52 were injured, some suffering from smoke inhalation, and were taken for treatment at local hospitals. He said up to now 73 fatalities and 52 injured who were transported to various healthcare facilities for further medical care. At least 7 children were among those killed by the flames in what is on track to become one of the deadliest fires worldwide in recent years. The youngest victim was less than 2 years old, he said. Some were left burnt beyond recognition. Army officers who seized power in a coup in Gabon yesterday have named General Brice Oligui Nguema as the country's transitional leader. General Nguema, who was earlier carried triumphantly through the streets of the capital Libreville by his troops. The deposed President Ali Bongo has appeared in a video at his home, calling on his friends from around the world to make noise on his behalf. The former French colony is one of Africa's major oil producers. China has issued the highest level of warning as Typhoon Saola, packing winds of more than 200 kilometers per hour, headed towards the southeastern coastline, threatening Hong Kong and other main manufacturing hubs in nearby Guangdong province. Forecasters issued a typhoon red warning at 6 a.m. today. Back to the headlines of the world news. Johannesburg building fire, the death toll climbs to over 70 in South Africa. Gabon coup leaders named General Brice Oligui Nguema as new leader. And China issues highest warning for Typhoon Saola as it nears the coastline. That concludes this bulletin of world news.
Development News is brought to you by
Job opportunities for well-experienced housemaids and home cooks in Saudi Arabia and Kuwait for ages 40 to 58 years. Salary 125,000 rupees. Contact 037 7500 500.
Sri Lanka's export sector in July managed to sustain over $1 billion performance compared to June 2023, though on a year-on-year basis it fell by 12% due to sluggish demand in major markets. As per the provincial data released by the Export Development Board yesterday, earnings from merchandise exports increased by 2.18% month-on-month to $1.02 billion in July 2023, but down by 11.79% year-on-year. The EDB said the drop in merchandise exports is due to the lower demand shown in export products, especially in apparel and textiles, rubber and rubber-based products, and coconut-based products. That came to you in Development News.
Job opportunities for women from Deshakti Lanka in Saudi Arabia, Kuwait and Oman. Housemaids and home cooks in Saudi Arabia, ages 40 to 58 years. Arabic speaking and well experienced home cooks. Salary 125,000 rupees. Interviews are now on with foreign agents. You can travel overseas free of charge now. Branches Colombo, Kurunegala, Anuradhapura and Matara. Contact number 0377 500 500. Deshakti Lanka Foreign Employment Agency.
On to sports news. Bangladesh have won the toss and opted to bat first against Sri Lanka in the second match of the Asia Cup 2023 today at the Pallekela International Cricket Stadium in Kandy. Sri Lanka have an injury-riddled squad with several key players like all-rounder Wanindu Hasaranga, pacers Dushmantha Chamira, Lahiru Madhushankar and Lahiru Kumara missing the Asian event. Meanwhile, Bangladesh suffered a massive blow as wicket-keeper batter Liton Das was ruled out of the tournament. Caught dry wicket and hope to put runs on the board. We have to be at our best because Sri Lanka are very good, especially at home. We have just to think about today's match and better to have them in 100 overs. 3 spinners and 3 seamers, said Shakib Al Hassan after winning the toss. Meanwhile, Sri Lanka's skipper Dasun Shanaka also talked after the toss and said, "It is a good toss to lose with rain around the corner. Our main players are injured, but we have all areas covered. And we expect turn here because the LPL was played here. The Asia Cup here is very exciting because there are fans behind us. And Pathirana and Vellalage are also playing." With that, we conclude sports news. It's business news next.
Go ekakthiyana youth ekata life eke change ekata niyameta set wenna as wahagena dakapu hina habe karanna youth ekata niyameta set wenna friendship eka menna.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IAM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, safest place for your money.
Sri Lankan Airlines, a national carrier and a prestigious One World member, as a prime promoter of the country's tourism, launched its latest campaign, The Colours of Jaffna. Considering the potential of the country's vibrant north, rich with striking architecture, vibrant cultural characteristics, and quintessential flavours of its unique culinary features, the national carrier in its campaign has aptly captured the beauty of each of these aspects, thereby inviting the traveller to embark on an immersive experience. That's business news, economic news to follow.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go එකක් තියන youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු හින හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
On to economic news. Sri Lanka's Department of Census and Statistics says that headline inflation based on the Colombo Consumer Price Index has further reduced to 4% in August compared to 6.3% in July 2023. The CCPI for all items for the month of August 2023 was 190.1 and it records a decrease of 0.1 in index points. Meanwhile, the overall rate of inflation as measured by the CCPI on a year-on-year basis is 4% in August 2023. That's economic news.
Weather report.
The Met Department says that there is a possibility of the enhancement of the prevailing showery conditions in the southwestern part of the island on the 1st, 2nd and 3rd of September. Showers will occur at times in the western, Sabragama, southern, central and northwestern provinces. Heavy showers above 100 millimeters are likely at some places in the western and Sabragama provinces and in the Galle and Martare districts. Showers or thundershowers will occur at several places in the eastern and Uva provinces and in the Polonnaruwa, Vavuniya and Mullaitivu districts during the evening or night. To conclude this bulletin of news, a recap of the headlines. President Wickremesinghe confident of Sri Lanka's potential to develop independently. The Prime Minister says the data on poverty and vulnerability is essential for effective planning. Multimodal transport hub to be constructed to alleviate traffic congestion in the Kandy city. Sri Lanka to get US support to import quality drugs. The first Sinopec fuel station opened, discounted fuel price announced. Colombo inflation dips further to 4% in August. Johannesburg building fire, the death toll climbs to over 70 in South Africa. And Asia Cup 2023, Bangladesh wins the toss, opt to bat first against Sri Lanka. With that, we conclude this evening's news broadcast.